a market that you don't know? Well, actually, this is the most common thing that happens to every single recruiter. We start off our career recruiting for something that we don't know 9 times out of 10. The only exceptions to this rule is that sometimes there are accountants who recruit for accountants who decide, I don't want to do accounting anymore, and they go and become recruiters. Or a lawyer who's like, I don't want a lawyer anymore, I'm going to go and recruit for my fellow lawyers. So those are the most typical people that end up recruiting for what they recruit for. Another thing I've seen recently is like salespeople who are like, I don't want to sell products anymore, but I want to recruit salespeople. Now, those people have the market knowledge, but they're just as silly and ignorant and fresh as a baby on recruitment. So actually, other than a little bit of knowledge about the technical field, which is very helpful, they're starting off at the same ground that you're starting off in likely. So for example, in my high school, college life, I hated science and everything it stood for. But yet I was assigned to doing life sciences recruiting, and I was focused on regulatory writing for the first 3 years of my career. Now, regulatory writing, nobody knows anything about it unless you are a regulatory writer because it's such a niche field. And all of my colleagues, same thing. They had no background in life sciences, yet they were assigned to life science markets because that's the market you're assigned to. Same for you. You might be an accounting finance recruiter, but you studied environmental engineering, or you were a marketing major and now you're recruiting for, an engineer, right? Like everybody just recruits for whatever they're assigned to. And the reason why top billers can succeed, even if you have no technical knowledge at all in the space, is because it's not about the knowledge of the space that makes a recruiter rich. It's about the capability of a recruiter being able to communicate with others in a very legible, legitimate, and purposeful, authoritative way in which they can then control the chessboard and make certain people do certain things, i.e. certain clients hire certain candidates, get certain candidates to move jobs. Those are the skills that make people money. So you could be the smartest lawyer in the world who knows every single thing about law, went to the best law schools, and recruit for lawyers, and you suck at it. This has happened. And they suck at it because they're not genuinely people. They have an ego. They think they're better than everyone. They think they know more. They get sucked into the knowledge bit of recruiting that they're not focusing on the people end of recruiting. Whereas the opposite, someone who is young and green, who is humble, who is smart, who knows how to get people to like them, who are very customer service oriented, this go-getter can actually do a fantastic job recruiting JDs, lawyers, associates, partners. So again, it just so happens that in certain markets, and I keep talking about lawyers, but this could apply to every single market, right? It's just because you are a technologist, you are some sort of Java developer, doesn't mean you're going to be good at recruiting Java people. In fact, you probably would suck at it because it's such a technical job versus what we do, which is full-on sales, right? So I think this is an important piece to understand, especially if you're starting out in recruiting, where you might feel a little imposter syndrome, like, wow, I don't know anything about my market. I've never even studied this field. I'm not even good at it. You don't have to be, because the only people that need to be good at it is your candidate. And the only job that you need to do is to find that person, get them to like you and trust you, and go interview and seriously move jobs. That's the important piece of work that headhunters do. We need to understand people's motivators. Why is this candidate going to leave? What are they facing in their current role that is making them unhappy? Those are the conversations that we're having. We're not having conversations about waxing and waning about, what are the most knowledgeable, code scripts that you use. I'm making this up. But the point is not to get sucked into the weeds of the technical stuff, because it does not matter. I was 26 years old when I started recruiting for venture capital funds and CEOs directly who owned biotech businesses. They did not care that I had neither anything above a bachelor's degree. And my bachelor's degree was in finance and strategic management. Hardly anything to do. And they never even asked me about my schooling. I would go on these client meetings, not in a minute would they ask me, where did you go to school? What did you study? No, this isn't a freaking interview. Like, I've been recruiting. That's what you need to know. Right? That's what I do. I recruit. I talk to these candidates. This is how I get people to trust me. This is what I do with them in my process. This is how it relates to you and your business. Right? So when you're working with executives, when you're doing recruiting, it's all about communication and just transcending the information. Hey, look, I'm here to do this for you. I'm here to connect two disparate parties together, and I'm going to work hard to do that. So again, even if you're a young recruiter starting out, don't ever for a minute let your market intimidate you, because you can learn it. You can just learn the basics, like what is important in this market, what do clients care about. It's just about asking the right questions. So the best thing you can do is to focus on honing in your skill set when it comes to asking open questions. A lot of people keep asking closed questions, and this is why their conversations don't go well, because they're going to be like, oh, do you have a need right now? Is there something that you're looking for in particular? Is there a profile that you think looks better? Makes you sound so not knowledgeable and confused, right? Instead, ask, who are you looking for? What matters to you? What are the important traits that you look for in a hire? What are some people that didn't work out? What are those examples like? Why do you think that wasn't a fit? Why do you think you haven't been able to find this person? Who, what, when, where, why, how? Those are your best friends when you're just starting out. If you are an experienced recruiter, I also want to give you the confidence that you do not have to stay in the market that you were given forever. In fact, the more you're tied to a certain market, I personally think it's less likely that you are entrepreneurial minded unless you're genuinely passionate about the market that you are assigned to. I love the people that I've met in my regulatory writing recruitment days. I love the executives that I served when I was doing 100K deals on the executive search side, and damn, that felt good. But when I started DG Recruit, it was no longer about the money or the market, right? It was about what I cared about. And it's not life sciences. I am sorry. I do not like science. I do not care about science. And some people have a real mission. You know, my grandfather died of cancer, but I do not feel a mission in recruiting for oncology, right? It's just not a mission for me. My mission is recruitment. I care about recruitment. So when I started my own recruiting firm, I started it to recruit recruiters. That felt right. And that, by the way, was my fourth market that I ever opened. On my first market, regulatory, my second market was kind of like a hodgepodge of quality assurance, safety, and some other things that I messed about with when I was managing. Then my third market was executive search, doing high-end deals for C-level placements. So those were 3 different markets I covered before I started my company doing recruiting recruiters. And a lot of people, they stay in their whole lives doing one market that they don't care about, and they're not in control of that. They're not like thinking about this. So it's important for you to really think as you grow in your career, what are the skill sets that fulfill my needs, my interests? Because the last thing you want to do is to pick a market that you don't care about and schlep around in it, mess about in it for the next few years. So every time you come to a career junction, think to yourself, why am I feeling this way? What are the concerns I have? Why don't I like my market? Why aren't I succeeding in this market? What am I doing wrong? Is it technical? Is it that I don't care? Is it I'm doing it wrong? Right? Really trying to pinpoint the real issue versus what you perceive to be the issue. And this is why, you should join our masterminds. Our masterminds are where you're going to get access to Grace and I, and we can help you. We can help you think about it. Obviously, we do our one-on-one coaching, but that's very expensive. So the mastermind is the best place to get this information from. Obviously, tuning into these videos, tuning into our podcast is going to help you as well. And as always, if you have questions, shoot them off to us. We cover these topics in our posts, in our videos, in our podcasts, and everything that we possibly have to communicate with everyone. I wish you luck out there, and I hope to see you on our mastermind soon.